Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, contrasting to the video I made a couple of days ago here on the channel, reasons to be optimistic about next year's Toronto Maple Leafs team. I don't want to say reasons to be negative about next year's team. Let's just go with cautiously optimistic, but the title might be a little bit more attention-grabbing. So I guess the first point that a lot of people have already been talking about this offseason is how the Toronto Maple Leafs plan to replace Kasperi Kapanen and Andreas Johnsson in their offense next season. If we're looking at this hypothetical lineup of 7 defensemen and 11 forwards for next season, the Toronto Maple Leafs' game plan seems to be quantity over quality to replace Kasperi Kapanen and Andreas Johnsson. Now, you can obviously argue that the Maple Leafs are going the quantity over quality route because they did suffer a lot of injuries last season and they didn't necessarily have the competent depth to kind of keep up with everything. I mean, John Tavares missed time, Ilya Mikheyev missed time, Zach Hyman didn't start the season with them, Mitch Marner also missed some time with like a hamstring injury or something like that. Austin Matthews had a wrist injury. There was injuries all over, including Andreas Johnsson and Kasperi Kapanen, and those two players didn't necessarily have the best of seasons last year, but they are potential 20-goal scorers. You can talk about the Kasperi Kapanen trade being a slam dunk because they did clear out the cap space necessary to make the moves that they did this offseason in making that trade, and they also acquired a first-round pick, the 15th overall pick, and Rodion Amirov, as well as Philip Hallander. But the truth of the matter is that trade made the team worse today. It might make the team better in the future, but it made them worse today, and they are trying to win today. Not necessarily today specifically, but in the now. And the same sort of thing with the Andreas Johnsson trade. That deal makes them worse today, right now. The current roster is not better off without having those two players. But what I will say about the Andreas Johnsson deal, because I don't like just being negative about the team and the moves, because the Maple Leafs had other offers on the table for Andreas Johnsson. They could have received a package of just draft picks for him, but they chose to receive just Joey Anderson and cap space instead. So that really does say a lot about Joey Anderson, and the fact that they were able to get him on a 3-year deal for $750,000, maybe not necessarily this upcoming season, but the 2 years after that where he's looking to make an impact on the NHL roster could be a very, very huge steal for them. This is in 18 games last season for the New Jersey Devils where Joey Anderson had 6 points, 4 goals for them last season. He's the player that's capable of holding down a bottom 6 role this season right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs and doing a competent job. Mind you, this isn't against the toughest competition out there, but maybe with some more favorable zone starts because he did start a lot of his shifts in the defensive zone. Maybe these numbers improve even more. But again, it is still quantity over quality, and the team is not better off without these two guys right now. The Maple Leafs are going to be relying on Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza to contribute somewhat at the NHL level, and can these guys do it being 41 years old, pushing 42, and 38, pushing 39? Can they be effective on power play too? Can Joe Thornton give you 14 or 15 minutes a night like he has in San Jose over the last couple of seasons? Can these guys do it over the course of a full season plus the playoffs? You know, we saw Ron Hainsey here in Toronto for a number of years where it looked like once he got to about the 70 or 80 game mark, he was absolutely gassed and he just didn't have it come playoff time. Gonna be really interesting to see how the Maple Leafs manage these two players because, like I said, they are going to be counting on them to contribute somewhat, but they're also going to have to manage their games and their minutes. Continuing the trend of quantity over quality here, no offense to these two players, but is this the Buffalo effect? Is this the effect of these two guys not necessarily playing on the greatest of teams? Now, touching on Wayne Simmonds is very different from Jimmy Vesey because Wayne Simmonds has had a laundry list of injuries throughout his career that's obviously starting to catch up with him, but having all this time off over the last year or so, does he come back rejuvenated? Because the Maple Leafs are paying him $1.5 million next season. That is not just a locker room guy. That is not just a goon. They're going to need him to contribute 5-on-5 and on the power play. $1.5 million, that is $425,000 over the maximum of what you can bury in the American Hockey League. So this isn't just a cheap contract. This can't just be a guy that will punch your face in and be intimidating. He's got to give the Leafs 10 or 15 goals. He's got to be at least breaking even or a net positive in terms of his 5-on-5 play, or even if he's playing on the second power play unit. He definitely doesn't have to be the player that he once was, nowhere close to it, but they do have to get something from this player or else the Maple Leafs are going to be in trouble in terms of their bottom 6 depth. Now remember, this is a video being more critical of the team in its current state, but over the past couple of seasons, the Maple Leafs have been an absolute powerhouse on paper. And Mikko Lehtonen right now, on paper, his numbers look absolutely amazing in the KHL. When I watch him in the KHL, he looks absolutely amazing. But until that translates over to the NHL, he's still a question mark. It's been a theme with this team over the last couple of seasons. On paper, yes. Theoretically, yes. Can they do it? They haven't. And that's the same sort of thing with Travis Dermott playing on the right side. On paper, it looks awesome. Theoretically, yes, it would be cool. But I'll believe it when I see it. Mike Babcock would do this thing that after the team would kill off a penalty, he would go to a D pairing of Morgan Rielly and Travis Dermott on the right side, and he would use that pairing to swing the momentum back in their favor. And in the 17-18 season, this was a pairing that was very successful in terms of the shot attempts and the expected goals for share. In the 18-19 season, this pairing wasn't as successful and a little bit more minutes played there, but the 18-19 season was weird for a lot of reasons because Mike Babcock just decided that they were going to play chip and chase hockey in the second half of the season, and the whole team's numbers as a whole took a hit, so I don't really know how much you can read into that. Mikko Lehtonen, Travis Dermott, absolute question marks. Justin Holl is another question mark. Do we want him playing minutes with Jake Muzzin? Do we want Jake Muzzin having to prop him up? Because we saw what Justin Holl was away from Jake Muzzin in the playoffs, and it was an absolute nightmare. And remember, this is a video of me being more critical of the team, but there still are a lot of question marks on the defense. There's question marks all over the bottom six. And I guess when we're looking at Frederik Andersen in net, there's cause for concerns everywhere on this team. Goals saved above expectation by season. So this is incorporating the quality of scoring chances and the quality of shots that a goaltender is facing. And Frederik Andersen did not have a good season last year, even factoring in the Maple Leafs' defense. It's a hard pill to swallow, and I don't like bagging on the guy because, like I said, it's like crapping on your best friend that's always been there for you the one time that he can't be. I get a lot of hate for it in the comments every time I bring it up, but when we're looking at his 19-20 season, he was not very good, and when we're looking at his numbers in elimination games as well, you gotta wonder, is this the type of goalie that the Maple Leafs can win with? It's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate cause for concern. I don't know how it works out. It's gonna be a gamble. The only thing that I can say to be a little bit optimistic about it is hopefully having guys like Jack Campbell and Aaron Dell behind him for the entire season next year. Hopefully that alleviates some pressure, it alleviates the workload a little bit, and he's able to be the consistent goalie that we've known and loved for the first 3 years that he was here in Toronto. When I make these contrasting videos, I tend to get yelled at in the comment section for flip-flopping or fence sitting, and that's just not the case. Unless I specifically state that something is my opinion, or I'm willing to die on that hill, or I believe in it 100%, the perspective that you're getting here on this channel 90% of the time is just me looking at things through an optimistic lens, because that's who I am. So naturally, you're going to get that optimistic perspective from me first, but I do like to think that I am able to be objective here on the channel, and doing videos like this where they completely contrast, all I'm hoping to do is make my argument compelling enough and believing enough, and if you're getting mad at me in the comment section for flip-flopping, then I guess I'm doing a good job at arguing the point. Because it's important to tell all sides of the story. There are people who are very excited and very optimistic about next season. Then there's people who are cautiously optimistic because it's the Leafs and you never want to get your hopes up. And then there are people that are absolutely scorned by what it means to be a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, and they're just overly negative. And what I like to think my job here is on the channel is pulling from all three of those perspectives and trying to back it up with stats and analysis and different things, because you can manipulate and make things look the way that you want them to be with the information that you present, but you got to show everything. But I haven't gotten an opportunity to really talk to you guys over the last while. Please do know that I do read all of your comments. Sometimes I don't necessarily have all the time to respond to them. I do respond to a couple of them here and there. I wish I had more time to do that because I do recognize the OGs that have been here for a very long time. The new people, I'm very appreciative of all that, but I do hope everyone, wholeheartedly, I hope that you and yours are doing very well over these very difficult, confusing, weird times. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you did like it and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And guys, let me know. I asked the question in the previous video, do you have more reasons to be optimistic about this team? Are you cautiously optimistic about this team? Or do you have more reasons to just be negative and doubtful of what we've seen from the front office this offseason?